Welcome back to Sportx Radar's Derby Stories. Today, we are diving headfirst into a rivalry that's so much more than a football match. Seriously, it's a cultural fault line that basically splits an entire nation in two. This is Le Classique. Let's get into it.
Look, to really get this fixture, you have to throw out everything you think you know about a typical derby. This isn't just about two teams. This is about identity. It's North versus South, the glamorous capital versus the gritty port city. It's 100 years of social and political baggage, all exploding over 90 minutes on a football pitch.
But here's the thing. This white-hot intensity, it didn't just happen by itself. Nope, it exploded in the early 1990s, and it was deliberately engineered. It was practically built by two incredibly powerful and ambitious forces who saw an opportunity to create a spectacle. This wasn't an accident, it was by design.
So on one side, you had Bernard Tapie at Marseille, a charismatic, super controversial tycoon who was absolutely hell-bent on building a European superpower. And on the other, you had the TV giant Canal+, who had just bought PSG. They were changing French television. And what do you need for good TV? A blockbuster story, a primetime narrative of heroes and villains. So they basically manufactured one, turning a soccer match into a national obsession.
So you see how the stage was set in the 90s, right? The fire was lit. But the crazy thing is, the fuel for that fire, well, that had been sitting there for decades, even centuries. The animosity we see on the field is just the tip of the iceberg of a much deeper, much older conflict. Let's peel back the layers.
To truly get it, we need to rewind. Way back. Long before a ball was ever kicked between these two clubs, the foundations of this hatred were already laid deep in the very fabric of France itself. We're talking about two completely different worlds. First, you have Paris. It's the capital, the center of power, of wealth, of sophistication and glamour. It's the establishment. Then you've got Marseille, the great port city. It's a multicultural melting pot, fiercely independent, proudly working class, and oh so rebellious. One city basically represents centralized control. The other is all about the defiant spirit of the people. They couldn't be more different.
And this really breaks it all down, doesn't it? These are the fault lines running right through the country. North versus South, the central government versus the independent port city, Parisian chic versus Mediterranean passion. You see, football didn't create these tensions, it just gave them the perfect battlefield.
And on a battlefield like that, you don't just get players, you get heroes, you get legends. Certain guys became more than just athletes, they were icons for their city. To one side, they were gods, and you better believe, to the other, they were the ultimate villains.
In Paris, one name stood above the rest. George Weah. The Liberian superstar, man, he was pure elegance and raw power all rolled into one. His goals against Marseille, they weren't just goals, they were statements. They were symbols of the capital's class and quality during a golden age for PSG.
And then you have Didier Drogba in Marseille. He was only there for one season, but he became an absolute legend. He was the city's fighting spirit. Powerful, passionate, relentless. He literally dragged Marseille through European competition, and his performances made him a warrior for the people.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The numbers tell the story. Just look at the impact of derby specialists like Paueta for PSG and Mamadou Niang for Marseille. These guys lived for this game. They always showed up, delivering the goals that could define a whole season and write their names in history forever.
But this rivalry isn't just about the legendary players. It's about the moments. Some matches were more than just games. They were explosive, historic events that went way beyond sports and are still argued about with incredible passion to this day. These are the clashes that define Le Classique. Just imagine this, October 1999, at a roaring, bouncing Stade Velodrome. The result? An absolutely chaotic, legendary 4-4 draw. It had everything. Unbelievable goals, crazy momentum swings, just enough drama for a whole season packed into 90 minutes. It was the beautiful madness of this rivalry in one game. And then there were games that, well, they weren't really games at all. Just listen to this quote from a player who was there in one of the clashes in the mid-2000s. He said, "It was not a football match, it was a battle, a war. The referee lost complete control." That tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? It was a reminder that this fixture is always teetering right on the edge.
And then there was the 2006 Coupe de France final. PSG wins 2-1, but for Marseille fans, that victory is forever tainted. They point to a controversial late goal and a series of refereeing decisions that they believe stole the cup right out of their hands. That bitterness? Oh yeah, it's still there today.
Okay, let's fast forward. In 2011, something happened that would change this rivalry and all of French football forever. A massive geopolitical investment came in and just blew the old order to pieces.
And this timeline just lays it all out. 2011, Qatar Sports Investments buys PSG. And just like that, the game is rewritten. Superstars like Zlatan, then Neymar, then Mbappe, they all start pouring in. PSG becomes a financial Goliath, a global superpower. And Marseille? They're suddenly cast in the permanent role of the passionate, defiant underdog fighting against a machine.
And if you want to see the result of all that money, just look at this chart. It is absolutely staggering. Since the takeover, PSG has won a mountain of trophies. Marseille, just one major honor in that same time. Now, you'd think that would kill the rivalry, right? Wrong. It has only made the hatred more intense. See, the battlefield has just shifted. While PSG might dominate the trophy cabinet, the war for pride, for identity, that now rages 24/7 online. Fan groups wage digital warfare on Twitter and Instagram. The global audience just makes the stakes even higher. And yeah, the financial gap is a chasm, but the passion on the pitch and in the stands, that's as real as it ever was.
And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? As football gets more and more corporate, more global, dominated by a handful of super clubs, is it these raw, historic, sometimes ugly local rivalries that are the last true soul of the game? Is this hatred what keeps it real? It's something to think about.